I went through the Army social work program, which is phenomenal. So like I have my bachelor's degree. They have a master's program, so that's a route to go.
Welcome to Experience Army Medicine Interviews. Our mission is to interview local medical professionals within the Army so they can detail their impact in medicine today. Today's interview is with Major Jennifer Frazier, 73 Alpha, social worker. She hails from Weed Army Community Hospital, Fort Irwin, California.
My name is Jennifer Frazier, and my AOC is 73 Alpha, social worker. I was born and raised in Stockton, California, and I initially never had any idea of whether I wanted to join the Army or not. It wasn't even on my radar. So it wasn't until I moved to Washington State, I was married, mother of 3, and I was pursuing my prerequisites in nursing. And so I completed all my prerequisites, and then of course to pursue my nursing degree, I had to go to school full time. And I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford to provide for my family and then go to school full time. So someone recommended that I join the Air Force. Because I met an Army nurse and she told me, hey, you should go to the Air Force. Well, the Air Force, they didn't take me. So I went to go see a recruiter and they said I had too many dependents. So I had too many dependents because I had my husband and then my 3 children. And so they were only wavering 2. And so I went to go see an Army recruiter and they said, absolutely, we'll sign you up. And they signed me up as a, let's see, it was a 68 whiskey. And so I joined. And then when I got to basic, I realized, oh, it was a combat medic. But I mean, I really joined so I can, go to school and still provide for my family. And so, of course, I didn't end up becoming a nurse, and I planned to only do 1 contract, but here I am, and I've been in almost 18 years. My first duty station was Walter Reed. So I was a medic there. It was very interesting because actually, even though I didn't realize what a combat medic was, I was really excited about it. I mean, essentially I was a battlefield doc and it was at the height of the war. So I really felt like I was gonna deploy and, save lives and push morphine, those kind of things. Well, I ended up in a hospital. So essentially I was like a certified nursing assistant, so a lot of kind of like bed manner stuff and just kind of helping the service members. We got a lot of amputees because I was at Walter Reed and that's where everybody came in. And so while I was there, it was a lot. I saw that it was a lot on the nurses, kind of a lot of things. I didn't know for sure if I wanted to be an Army nurse or not, but I wanted to become an officer. So I wanted to become an officer. So someone recommended that I apply to the officer candidate school. So that's what I did. So I applied to the officer candidate school, but I needed stabilization. So while I was waiting to stabilize for the year, I actually applied for the Army Soldier Show. And so I toured with the Army Soldier Show for 9 months. And while I was on the show, I found out I got accepted into officer candidate school. So I went over after I finished the tour, then I went over to what's now Fort Moore, and I went to school there. And because I was prior enlisted, I was at the needs of the Army, and they were diversifying, they said the engineer branch. And so although I had a sociology degree, they branched me an engineer. And so I was an engineer officer. Yes. Yes, so I was an engineer officer. Very interesting. I really enjoyed it. And it was a 3-year contract, for going OCS, it was a 3-year contract. And so I really enjoyed it. And interestingly enough, they made me a vertical engineer, which is essentially all blueprints and everything. But the Army had faith in me to do it. I mean, I felt like I did a great job. But majority of my colleagues were from West Point, they were from ROTC, so they had engineering degrees. So I worked a lot with them, and they taught me a lot of things, besides like my officer training. My EBOLIC is where I went to. They taught me a lot. And then I think in turn, just kind of pursuing my sociology degree, just advocating for things, taking care of people, that was just, I felt was pretty natural and something that I was drawn to. So I did that a lot as an engineer, right? So people first, always taking care of people. And so as my contract was winding down, I didn't really have my sights on social work. I didn't even know the program existed, but other people recommended it to me. Like, hey, are you planning to get out of the Army? And I was like, yeah, I think, I've kind of met a lot of my goals and, it's kind of just kind of transition. And they said, no, you should apply to this social work program. And so I researched the program and I was like, wow, this is a lot of what I really enjoy doing. And how phenomenal would that be to, just absolutely do what I want to do, at least at that time in my career, and help people and still take care of soldiers. So one, I went through the Army social work program, which is phenomenal. So like I have my bachelor's degree. They have a master's program, so that's a route to go. So hands down, if you're looking, that's a program that usually takes 3 years if you're going full time. And so I was able to pursue that while I was on active duty, and the Army paid for that. So I was able to, earn a master's degree. And then after you earn your master's degree, so even if you have a master's degree, you still have to have a clinical license, which the license is typically about 3,000 to 3,500 hours that you have to earn in order to get that license and be qualified for the AOC. So the Army gave me 2 years to do that. And so I still maintained my benefits, was able to take care of my family, and then get my clinical license. And so I was qualified as a 73 Alpha after about 3.5 years. And all of that, I was able to, again, still earn my salary at the rank that I was at. And then I was able to get my degree and everything. And so it was a phenomenal opportunity. I don't think I would have been able to do it. Kind of like I talked about in the beginning, just pursuing my nursing degree, like being able to do that full time and take care of a family. The Army provided all of that. So for someone that's looking for that, I know folks pursue, their degree and do these things, but it's definitely a great opportunity if you're looking to, again, kind of fast track it. And then once I was done, essentially I went right into a job. So it wasn't something I had to interview for. The Army said, hey, this is what an Army social worker looks like. So really, if someone's pursuing it, if they wanted to be an Army social worker, just kind of have an understanding, is this the population you want to work with? Of course, very near and dear to my heart to know that I am a part of the team that's helping folks to be ready. Ready to deploy, fight, win America's wars. I'm behind all of that in terms of combat and operational stress control. So I'm part of that team. And so it's really rewarding, exciting. You get to navigate all the realms of social work from like the individual level to the macro level. So there's the strategic outlook. So I feel like I get all these opportunities to be a leader and a social worker at the same time. So I would say for anybody that's wanting to pursue it, I really don't see, other than, again, the Army life, that can be tough. While you're in school, obviously you're in a non-deployable status. While you're pursuing your clinical license, you're not in a non-deployable status. And then, of course, once you get into the AOC or you earn the 73 Alpha, there's opportunity or there's possibilities that you can deploy, go to different operations. So you can't be away from your family, right? So that can be challenging, that can be tough. But